Right.
XXX Hoshi in the chat. You
God.
Cloud9 fanboy. Give me one reason right now, you absolute moron of a human being, as to why we should not be sleeping on Cloud9. Because the fact of the matter is, if you watch them perform in that event, if you open your goddamn eyes that your mother came out of you, so her fucking vagina, and you watched that game of Counter-Strike, and you used an objective style of fucking watching anything, you stupid fuck, you can see that they didn't actually play anything.
This is Spunj, leading CSGO analyst and former in-game leader of Renegades and Vox Eminor. He's also a former plumber, which has made him extremely experienced at dealing with shit, and as we can see, the approach he's developed does not involve using any sort of filter. Now, thankfully, CSGO is the one esport where not having a filter doesn't jeopardize your career. For example, let's check out Duncan Shields, aka Thorin, responding to Team Liquid's coach after they were 16-0'd by the TSM lineup that went on to become Astralis.
Not underperform, literally get bent over, someone spread their arsehole and go, I'm going to be right up there in a minute, and then they're just going, help us, coach! And then you're going, pray, stay together, battle through it mentally, and it'll all be over soon. Like, yeah, great.
I mean, but here's the thing. Every point he was making on Twitter was...
Every metaphor is literally homosexual rape.
Yeah,
Holy shit! Can you imagine what would happen if this was Overwatch or League of Legends? Just how hard Blizzard or Riot would try and wreck your entire career for saying something like that, but not in CSGO apparently. Not only did this guy do both CSGO majors the following year, he won the prize for Esports Journalist of the Year for 2017. He got to get up there and say his smart-ass philosophical speech.
Now, I've seen a few of these things before, so I kind of know the formula, okay? So stick with me, right? You're supposed to say, you know, there's a lot of peers in the industry, they're very good, they'd be deserving of this award as well. But I've always thought in life, it's better to be thought arrogant than a liar.
Apparently, no one cared less that he went through this phase where he wouldn't shut up about anal rape. But this video isn't about Thorin, so let's bring it back to the main topic, my fellow Aussie Spunj. Now, in addition to having no filter, Spunj has a couple of other key characteristics. Firstly, he's got a tendency to express himself emotionally.
Come on, boy! Come on!
Secondly, he's got a tendency to tilt off the face of the earth. And thirdly, he's got a tendency to talk down to his critics in situations where it quickly becomes very awkward, like this speech he gave right before being 16-0'd by Luminosity.
But hearing the rubbish like from the casters coming out saying like we were trash, basically, I read a Gosu Gamers interview where they said we weren't even a threat. It's ridiculous. Like, we were at the Cologne Major and we beat Titan. We did better than the American teams did, and we just like get flack. The American teams go to so many more events to us. They get to practice in a much better environment, and then the casters sitting up there talking trash. Like, I'm probably going to make an enemy of myself right now, but I don't really care.
Well, as it turned out, Spunj did care. In fact, he had to turn off his Twitter account after months of sustained blowback that began after he got 16-0'd there. And in his defense, I have to say that Gosu Gamers article you referenced was trash. The casters were unfair to him, and although I've never been on the receiving end of a tidal wave of negative social media, I'm sure it's really awful. I can understand why he was upset. It's just, that timing. That timing was so terrible. But anyway, that's all in the past. These days, Spunj is a top analyst doing tons of big events, but his tendency for talking shit at really inopportune moments definitely hasn't changed. As we saw at the start of the video, he managed to bombastically ride off Cloud9 right before they curb stomped MIBR 16-3 on Inferno. And the Cloud9 boys were very keen to remind him of what he said, at least for the 24 hours in between them beating MIBR and being 16-0'd by Astralis, so maybe Spunj did have a point after all. But apparently, that didn't stop some people from continuing to give Spunj some feedback on Twitter, or as Spunj puts it, do you understand that I get people telling me to kill myself or hope that horrible things happen to me purely because I state facts about a team they literally have no involvement in other than emotional support? Well, something has definitely gotten under Spunj's skin. I wonder who is responsible for this. Maybe this tweet here might clue us in on what's going on. I mean, as it says, imagine being so much of a fan you feel the need to tweet angry shit at people who predict against your team. Pathetic. You aren't a fan, you're a miserable human. But it's not just the fans that are annoying you, is it, Spunj? I mean, you did single out this guy here for complaining about a ranked seeding system, and yes, I know you love the game, and yes, that moron is arguing for undermining its competitive integrity, but is it really necessary to call him out like this? Oh wait, I do the same thing, don't I? You know what? Forget about this example, let's go back to those fans. Now, Spunj says he reacts the way he does because he's a human, but I think this is only half the story. I think there's a special spongy element to what's going on here. Because we have a good idea about what sort of person Spunj is from his career, and by every account he's a really nice guy who's very charismatic, but he's also someone who wears their heart on their sleeve and can be pretty emotive when they express themselves, and can get a bit tilted when something frustrates them. And does this seem like anything other than 100% pure Spunj to you?
Cloud9 are not going to make top 8, bro. So just go back to being a Cloud9 fanboy and spamming all your stupid bullshit in Twitch chat, because you got to open your fucking eyes. You have to watch the game for what it is and stop being having bias.
So look, what I'm getting at is that I think he actually does react a bit differently to other talent. Not all of them, but some of them. And you might be thinking, you know, tough for Spunj. Stupid comments aren't going anywhere in this, you know, modern era of social media. That's the way it is. But Spunj doesn't seem to be under any illusions about this. He just doesn't want there to be a double standard. As he says, the internet wonders why I get mad. They can spit out all the insults in the world and think that's okay. Then I get mad and people say it's unprofessional. What a bunch of fucking entitled cunts. Now, I have my doubts about whether Spunj's whole outburst against
XXX Hoshi
for saying don't sleep on Cloud9 could ever, you know, qualify as a legitimate case of somebody getting a bit mad, although I'm sure it was the culmination of a lot of built up frustration. It's just that it's hilariously over the top as a result. But I do sympathise here, you know, why should someone in Spunj's position be expected to keep their composure all the time? My only question would be, are they? Like, are they really expected to constantly keep a straight face? Isn't one of the defining features of CSGO as an esport the fact that people are fine with some shit talking and banter from the commentators and the analysts and the players? Because that's really one of the things that's kept me coming back to watch the game at the pro level year after year after year. It's not just a good game, it's got character. So I'm in favour of Spunj's right to get a bit mad at things, because I've really enjoyed his wacky social media adventures so far, and I want them to continue, and that's only going to happen so long as Spunj is free to express himself. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your gut. I'm Heyzeus. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Oh my god, Spunj, please, my heart can only take so much.